Once in a lifetime, a special kind of trader emerges from the depths of Wall Street Bets. A trader who has an insatiable thirst for making insane plays, like losing more than 1000% on a trade and getting margin called 4 times. But he's not the only one. We have a trader who made so much money that he started buying Rolex watches for his stuffed animals. A trader who lost $200,000, 2 traders who lost more than $100,000 and don't plan to stop, and a trader who made an impossible comeback. But we are starting off with a huge gain by James Brown, who bought these Microsoft shares during the pandemic crash and never sold. That's just a blatant lie, and you'll see why in just a moment. He's up by 107% or $56,599.02, but his trading journey started with a much smaller gain quite a bit earlier. On February 25th, 2020, he posted a 70% gain on Moderna options, and then 3 days later he posted his position of 600 Microsoft shares, which is somehow after 3 years still waiting approval by the moderators of Wall Street Bets. Anyway, if you already forgot, in his most recent gain he has around 300 shares, which if my math is correct is about half of what he had 3 years ago, meaning he sold. A bit more than a year later he decided to dip his toes in the market again and bought 500 shares of GameStop, on which he was up by 175% or $57,442.14. But high on his success, it was almost inevitable he was going to start making mistakes. And in August 2021, he posted a loss of 38% or around 17k on Wish shares. A month later, another loss of 85% or 17k on GREE shares. 4 months later, another loss of 48% or 28k on Riot shares. But then he finally made a gain on Netflix puts, as the stock dropped by a lot after earnings. And he continued playing with options, buying 10 puts on Bed Bath & Beyond as the stock dropped by a ton in the following days. He made so much money that aside from buying himself a Rolex, he started buying them for his stuffed animals. He continued making gains as he posted a 38% or a 25k gain on Tesla shares, and that brings us to his latest post. I must say, even though he made some small losses along the way, he seems like he knows what he's doing, because he's buying a lot of shares on stable companies, even selling hard calls against his positions, and the few times he bought naked options he opened small positions and didn't go all in. Now on the opposite side of Wall Street Bet spectrum we have the Meister, who's asking if he can borrow some money as he got margin called 4 times in his trading journey, and recently got this daunting message: "Dear valued client, we want to let you know that you do not have sufficient funds in your account to meet the initial margin requirements under the Federal Reserve Board's Regulation T. As a result, a Regulation T call has been issued for the account. We're here to help by providing the steps you'll need to take to meet this call. Amount required $56,234.10, and the entire amount is due immediately." But before we go through with what happened and what he did next, which might be even more insane, let's go way back to 2019, when he spotted a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity on a stock worth less than a cent with a 1-year price target of $3,000. Obviously this was just a post, so he luckily didn't go through with the trade, but after 2 months he finally mustered the courage to enter his first trade. And oh boy, what an insane trade that was. He sold one Google call option with a striking price at $1,200, and get this, he was not down by more than 100%, but by more than 1000%, 1057% to be exact, and lost about $5,000 on his first trade. And now you're probably getting what kind of a trader you have to be to get margin called 4 times. But maybe you're jealous and are wondering how could you also achieve nirvana and be down by more than 1000%. Well, honestly it's quite simple. Next time you're buying options, just click sell instead of buy, and if the trade goes wrong you could lose way more than 100%, infinitely more. Anyway, 2 years later he lost almost 10k, which was luckily less than 100% on AT&T calls, but then he was finally up by 38% or 10k on Google calls with a striking price at $3,000 and an expiration date in 2023. He spent all his money on this play, but sadly he didn't reveal if he sold or not. And that brings us to 2023, when just 7 months ago he got margin called not on 1, not on 2, but on 3 accounts for a total loss of $93,000, which was a result of trading too many oil contracts. And now we've came to his latest margin call. I've gone through all his comments and sadly couldn't find what he actually did to get margin called. But the day before that he shorted Meta and made a couple $100 in 15 minutes, and most recently he shorted Roku, on which he's down by 31%. Next we have an insane loss by Easy Money Sniper, who's asking if he can recover. As we can see, he's down by 92% or $197,174.19 and is left with around 17k. Sadly he didn't even get one free win before his account started slowly falling. His portfolio got covered and he's debating whether he should just YOLO his remaining balance and short the market or just buy approximately 8,000 lottery tickets. Needless to say, he lost his money on options trading, and to make things worse, he didn't even lose his own money, as he got 2 loans from the bank, 1 from his credit line and 2 from credit cards. And on top of that, he started trading in October 2022, which means he lost almost 200k in just a year. And for his latest play, he decided to buy SPY call options with a striking price at $450. But at least judging by the SPY chart, that trade didn't end that well for him. Luckily though, it's not all that bad because some people are still making comebacks, just like Starving Cobra. Looking at his all-time chart, we can see that he had a great start with his portfolio slightly rising, but then his gains turned into dust and he just kept on losing until July the 10th, when his account reached a loss of 94% or $36,578.84. He was losing so much money because he sold put spreads on Meta when it was crashing, then sold call spreads on Nvidia when it was rising. He was left with $2,069.58 and he wasn't going to give up. He changed his strategy and got into profit in a surprisingly short time by selling MELI and Lulu call spreads and a variety of spreads on SPY. Now he's up by 16% or about 6k. So pretty much greed caused the downfall and Feta Gang lifted him back up. And what truly made him profitable is the fact that after learning his lesson, he's being patient for good entries and making moves when something is oversold or bought or at all-time highs. Let the market dictate when you make moves, not just when you want to. And he generally sells monthly spreads because they give you room for options on what to do. Get out early, try riding it out or rolling. Weekly spreads are more risky, but you're not tied up for long periods of time. And how far away are his striking prices from the current price just depends on how it's been moving. Personally, he looks for overbought and oversold stocks for long periods of time before entering. He also lags in slowly a few contracts at first to leave him room to average down or roll. Sadly, we have a lot more losses than gains this week, as trader by the name of Velko had an incredible journey so far and quitting isn't an option. He's down by 99.99% or $101,604.12 and is left with just $10.97. And this must be one of the saddest charts I've ever seen. I mean, he didn't even get one free win and he didn't even have a chance to make a comeback or stop his losing streak, because once he started losing money, it was gone in an instant. Unfortunately, he didn't give any information about his losses, but I did find a comment from a year ago on the earnings thread, so I guess we could speculate from this comment, his chart and the firm's stock chart that he most likely went all in on this stock right before the earnings. And last but not least, we have another insane loss, this time by Decision Optimal 9034, who is down all thanks to options. More specifically, he's down by 94% or $120,412.23 and is left with around 7k. Honestly, his chart doesn't really look that bad. At the start, he had a bit of bad luck, but then he started to make progress and slowly became profitable, which is why the second part is truly confusing to me, as his account just consistently falls. I mean, he made attempts to make it back, but it all turned out to be fruitless. And just like the last trader, he also didn't share any details about his losses, and he also has a feeling he will recover. And if you want to see how this 23-year-old got addicted to losing and click on the video that just popped up. If you like my content, make sure to subscribe, and if you have any questions or recommendations, leave them in comments below, and thanks for watching.